think about a single drop of ink just hanging there in the middle of the ocean, one tiny bead, and inside it, somehow, the plans for every wave, every current, every secret trench you'll never see. That's the Zohar. It's not just a book. It's more like a prism, breaking up infinity so we can catch a glimpse of it, a message whispered straight from the heart of creation to the pulse inside your own chest. For centuries, this thing stayed hidden away, tucked into the sanctuaries of those who had spent decades learning how to listen. Only a handful got to see its pages, guarded like the eye of the cosmos itself. But now, the lock is turning. We're right at the edge, and that old light, once saved for the few, is starting to spill out for everyone. Picture medieval Castile for a second. Narrow alleys, candles flickering over parchment, the air thick with the sound of Aramaic prayers. In that strange, charged space, a handful of mystics gathered around Moses de Leon. Their fingers traced letters that seemed to burn from the inside out. They weren't talking about religion or even history, really. They wanted to get underneath all that. They saw 10 Sefirot, these shining rungs running down the spine of divinity, and the soul's five-fold garment woven out of light and shadow. Reading the Zohar meant slipping behind the curtain of everyday life to see the machinery that moves the sun or the ache inside a person's heart. It's a map, not on paper, but carved right into the stuff of consciousness itself. These days, we stuff ourselves with information and call it wisdom. The soul, starving, gets fed on flickering screens and slogans that evaporate as soon as you look away. But the old hunger hasn't gone anywhere. Who am I really? Where did I even start? And where am I supposed to be going? The Zohar doesn't hand you doctrine. It's more like striking a tuning fork against the ribs of creation. Suddenly, you feel the resonance in your own bones. The world you can see and touch, that's just the outer veil. Behind it, there's a lattice connecting everything, where a single act of kindness in a Madrid market can tip the scales in the world of Atziluth. Think back to your first breath, that wild cry that yanked a little piece of the infinite straight down into your body. The Zohar calls this the descent of the nefesh, the vital spark that wakes flesh up and gets it moving. But it doesn't stop there. The soul keeps unfolding layer after layer, like a lotus of living fire. Ruach, the breath of feeling. Neshama, the mind that glimpses eternity. Kaya, the creative rush that spins out worlds. Yekidah, the core that never really left the one. Knowing these layers means walking through life with a lantern that lights up more than just the path ahead. It shows you the invisible bridges, the connections running under every step, all the way to the throne of hidden light. And what about that forbidden aura clinging to the Zohar? It was never just about keeping people out for the fun of it. It was about protection. Hand a child the keys to a spaceship, and you know how that ends. The Zohar warns, come to these mysteries unprepared, and you risk shattering, like a mirror flashed with too much sunlight. But now, even that old rule has flipped into an invitation. In a world where the old barriers are falling and the veils get thinner every year, the Zohar reaches out to anyone with a heart willing to swap certainty for wonder. So here we are, standing together at the edge of the unveiling. Feel it, the centuries pressed into a single page, waiting for your touch. The truth? The code was never really locked. It just waited, quiet and patient as starlight, for humans to remember their own brightness. The Zohar doesn't want your belief. It wants you to recognize what's been inside you all along. In its verses, galaxies spin and collide, and your own blood echoes that rhythm.
This isn't trivia from the past, it's living technology, a kind of spiritual physics that keeps working whether you notice or not. Every step deeper will peel away another illusion. What was forbidden is now simply inevitable. What was hidden wants to see itself in your eyes. The soul's blueprint is ready for you, not as some distant theology, but as the very engine that drives your evolution. The Zohar is a love letter, written by the infinite to itself, carried through trembling hands for centuries, and now, at last, placed in yours.
There's a reason the Zohar feels forbidden. It refuses to flatter your ego. It insists the self you work so hard to protect is just an outer shell, a klipa you have to crack open to find the real fruit inside. Peeling it back hurts. You have to face your shadow, what the Zohar calls the Yetzer Hara. Not evil, but misdirected fire. The text compares that urge to the shell around an almond. Break it right, and sweetness comes out. Real spiritual work isn't about crushing your impulses. It's about turning them toward the light. Picture a night so thick with stars, you'd swear the sky was breathing. Down below, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai sits with his students in a cave, the walls sparkling like the inside of a secret gemstone. When they talk about the mysteries, the Zohar says the stones actually weep for joy, as if their words aren't just commentary, but wild sparks flying home. One night, the fire's burning low, shadows flickering, and Rabbi Abba asks about the very first words of Genesis, in the beginning. But Rabbi Shimon doesn't answer right away. Instead, he goes quiet, so quiet it's like the flames themselves freeze mid-flicker. Then he picks up a single pebble and holds it to the firelight. Inside its veins, you can almost see it, creation squeezing into being, shattering, then gathering itself again. The cave suddenly feels like a womb, the disciples barely more than embryos of light. That pebble? It's the seed of a whole new world. That's the Zohar for you. It tells stories that double as maps, parables that work like mirrors. Take the story of the four who enter the Pardes, the mystical orchard. Ben Azai looks and dies. Ben Zoma looks and loses his mind. Elisha ben Abuya hacks at the shoots, but Rabbi Akiva walks in and out in peace. The Zohar unwraps this legend like petals from a flower. The orchard isn't a place, it's a state. It's what happens when your soul stands naked in front of the infinite. Dying isn't just dying, it's melting into unity, losing your shape. Madness is a mind split apart by what it can't handle. Cutting the shoots means thinking you can have the branches without the root. Akiva, he holds both sides of the paradox. The orchard's inside and out. The latter goes up and down at once. Now, think of the soul as a wanderer, wearing 5 different layers, each from a different world. The nefesh is a coat of earth, heavy with the smell of dust and footsteps. The ruach is like a jacket made of wind, full of old laughter and sorrow. The neshama is a robe of morning light, all questions and no answers. The chaya, that's a cloak of fire, burning but never burned up. And the akida is a seamless garment of pure light, never stitched, never torn. The Zohar tells the soul's story like a royal exile, born in the palace of Atzilut, then wrapped in rougher and rougher clothes, until, at the bottom, in the noisy market of Asiya, it forgets its royalty at all. Life is the slow peeling away of all those layers, until the soul remembers who it is. There's a luminous passage in the Zohar. The Torah is a princess locked in a tower, hidden under 1,000 layers of stories and laws. The simple read the outer garment and call it history. The wise see through to the silks underneath, philosophy. But the lover, he presses his lips to the last veil and tastes the princess herself. Every commandment is a key. Every letter is a drop of perfume. Even the white spaces between words are breaths from the beloved. When Moses got the Torah at Sinai, he didn't come down with stone tablets. He brought back living fire, shaped into letters. The mountain shook because it saw itself in that flame. The Zohar's stories are kisses on that fire, and every one lights a spark in the reader's own heart. There's another tale. A shepherd boy, under those same old stars, watches his flock. One night, a wolf appears, eyes glowing. Instead of running, the boy sings a melody older than words. The wolf lies down, the sheep draw close, and suddenly the barrier between worlds thins. The boy sees the wolf's soul, a prince in exile, just wearing fur. Right then, he understands Tikkun. It's not about killing the predator, but reminding it of its throne. The Zohar says this nameless shepherd song rises all the way through the lower worlds, mending a break in the Sefirot of Givera, making roses bloom in the desert for 40 days. Every act of true recognition brings something home. Think of the king who builds a hall of mirrors so perfect that every reflection thinks it's the real one. The king walks in disguised as a servant, and for centuries the reflections argue about who's real. Only when the servant cries do the mirrors crack, and then the one true face shines through. The Zohar uses this to talk about the klipot, the husks that feed on divine light, but think they're separate. Your anger, envy, despair, these aren't enemies. They're just twisted reflections waiting to be brought back in. The spiritual path isn't about fighting. It's about remembering who you are in the mirror. When you whisper, "You're not other," the husk softens, turning into a vessel again. The Zohar tells of a candle whose flame splits into 70 tongues, each one speaking a different language, but all saying the same thing. These are the 70 faces of Torah, the 70 nations, the 70 layers of the soul's understanding.
When the Zohar's light steps out of the cave and spills into the everyday, it doesn't get weaker. It just bends, like sunlight through a window, refracting into the small details of ordinary life. You're standing at a crosswalk, traffic lights flickering like uncertain Sefirot. Suddenly, the red is Gevorah, firm, holding everything back. The green is Hesed, gentle, letting things move. The driver who lets you cross is fixing the world without even knowing the word tikkun, raising a spark out of the everyday mess of impatience. That's the Zohar, breathing in the city. Every corner is a kind of cosmic checkpoint where big energies flow through tiny human decisions. The hidden code of reality turns real the moment you see that your own attention is the key in the lock. Start with breath. It's the original trade between worlds. Inhale like you're pulling in a bit of Eden. Exhale like you're sending repaired light back up the tree. Try 3 mindful breaths at any threshold, a doorway, an elevator, even the start of an argument. That's a quick tzimtzum, a pause that opens space for something higher to come in. The Zohar says your lungs are twin altars. What you offer there, the quiet, the intention, rises faster than anything you say out loud. Picture a tired parent steadying their nerves with deep breaths during a toddler's meltdown. They're actually tuning the harmony of Tiferet, balancing fire and water inside that tiny turbulent universe. Words are architecture too. The Zohar warns, words become vessels.
Fill them with truth, and they rise. Fill them with lies, and they drag sparks down. Before you speak, pause. Feel the shape of the sentence before it leaves you. Will it strengthen what connects us or tear it? Just one honest phrase, "I'm here for you," can shift a whole relationship, drawing Zerenpin and Nukva into a real conversation. People who try this find that arguments don't end with compromise, but with resonance, each voice finding its place in a bigger chord. Food isn't just fuel when you eat, like every bite holds exiled light. The Zohar compares digestion to Yetzirah's alchemy, breaking matter down, setting sparks free. Bless your meal, not as a rote ritual, but as a moment of partnership. Thank the farmer, the rain, the seed, and suddenly you're mending the shavira, the shattering that scattered nourishment into pieces. Even vegans play a part here. Plants carry their own kind of spark, softer, but still waiting for someone to notice and lift them through mindful eating. Money, maybe the most ordinary energy, lights up under the Zohar's gaze. Currency is life force thickened into coins, time frozen into bills. Spend carelessly, and you scatter sparks into the klipot. Spend with direction, and you're redistributing energy on a cosmic scale. Giving 10% to charity isn't just charity, it's technology. Malkuth gets its share from the flow streaming down through the Sefirot. Drop a coin into a busker's case, and with a silent hope, let this note fix something in Yesod. You both get lifted. The city itself feels lighter. Sleep isn't just a blackout, it's a nightly trip to the source. The Zohar says the soul goes out during dreams, revisiting the construction zone where reality gets tweaked. Before bed, set a glass of water nearby and whisper a question into it, about healing, about direction, whatever's on your mind. The water becomes a mirror for the upper waters. Drink it slowly in the morning and imagine the answer soaking in. Dreams start to clear up. Coincidences stack up. You've opened a direct line to the soul's workshop. Relationships? This is where the Zohar really gets its hands dirty. Every interaction is a mini Idra, a gathering where divine faces meet behind human eyes. When conflict pops up, don't try to win, look for the spark stuck inside the other person's story. The partner who forgets an anniversary is tangled in gevurah, too much restriction. Meet it with kesed and the shell cracks. Commitment shines through. Forgiveness isn't just a nice feeling, it's engineering, breaking up blockages so the light can move between souls. Couples who live this way turn into living Sefirot, their union a beacon that brings blessing to everyone around them. Work, whatever shape it takes, is co-creation with the ongoing act. A coder writing new software steps into Berea, turning ideas into reality. A gardener pruning roses works in Yetzirah, shaping through gentle cuts. Bring intention to what you do, and the ordinary flips into something sacred. That barista drawing a latte heart is sketching the glyph of Tiferet in foam. The customer who receives it with gratitude closes the circuit. Excellence isn't about ego, it's about getting in tune, letting something higher move through your hands. As the last spark settles and the final veil drops, there's this strange hush. It's deeper than silence, almost louder than noise. The Zohar has taken us from the cave's flickering glow to the buzz of city lights, from the cosmic tree right down to your own breath. Now it weaves everything together into one simple truth. You are the place where the infinite wakes up and learns its own name. The so-called forbidden code, it wasn't hidden away in some ancient language. It's right there, pulsing in your longing, just waiting for the moment when your wonder finally outweighs your fear. That moment is right now. The maps are open, the stories have been shared,
The seeds for new practices are already planted. All that's left is your choice. Do you live as if this architecture, this whole hidden structure is real? Let this truth settle on you, not as a burden, but like a crown. Every ordinary moment, the steam from your coffee, a stranger's half smile, the dull ache in your knee, these are all lines in the love letter the infinite writes to itself through you. The scattered sparks of the Sefirot aren't tragedies, they're invitations. Your attention is the music, your intention the dance. When you wake up and actually pay attention, you don't add more light, you let the eclipse fall away. That's the Zohar's biggest secret. There's no gap to cross, no mountain to climb, just layers of forgetting to peel off. Start small. Tonight, before you fall asleep, put your hand over your heart and speak to the 5 souls by name. Thank the Nefesh for carrying you, the Ruach for your wild spectrum of feelings, the Neshama for that quiet knowing that outlasts thought, the Chaya for every creative urge, and the Yehidah for your unbroken link to the source. Talk gently, like you would to someone you love who's finally come home. This isn't just a ritual, it's a reunion. In that kindness, old hardness softens, the Sefirot harmonize, and the palace of mirrors shows one face, yours, smiling back. Take this reunion into tomorrow. Start the day asking, where can I lift a spark today? Maybe it's rewriting an email with a little more kindness, picking up trash no one saw you drop, or staying quiet when words would only hurt. Each small act is a stitch in the world's fabric, a note in a song that started before time itself. The Zohar insists nothing's too small. Fixing a single spark here shakes the highest realms awake. You're not saving the world, you're just remembering it was never truly broken, only asleep. As you go about your day, let the Zohar's way of seeing settle in. That impatient driver, Gevurah looking for balance. The weed cracking the sidewalk, Netzach refusing to quit. Speak to them inside your mind, not with judgment, but with recognition. Suddenly, the space between you shifts. Relationships get deeper. Coincidences pop up. The ordinary world starts to shimmer. That's the secret. Enlightenment isn't a distant goal, it's just a new way of looking. Heaven's already here, spread out in plain sight, but most people miss it. The Zohar hands you a new pair of eyes. And when doubt sneaks in, because it always does, the ego isn't quick to give up its throne. Just come back to your breath. Inhale, create space. Exhale, fill it. This rhythm is the pulse of the Ein Sof, the endless. You're not doing spirituality, you're remembering you never left it. The cave, the city, the stars, your phone screen, they're all chambers in the same heart. What was forbidden now feels obvious. What was hidden is suddenly home. The Zohar doesn't want your belief, it wants you to notice those moments when you're already living it. The circle closes. The ink drop is the ocean. The beggar is the king. The exile is the homecoming. The Zohar's last whisper is actually your own voice finally saying yes to the life that's always been waiting. Step forward, not as a seeker, but as someone carrying the code. Let your laughter heal, your tears nurture, your presence reveal. The world is waiting to see itself reflected in your open eyes. The light was never forbidden, it was just waiting for you to be strong enough to hold it, clear enough to let it shine. You're ready. The door was never locked. As the final page of the Zohar turns within your own awakened heart, feel the ink of eternity pulse through your veins, merging the forbidden with the familiar, the exile with the eternal homecoming. The light was never hidden, it awaited your gaze.
Now carry this unveiled flame into the world, and let every breath become a living commentary on the infinite. Please help our channel grow and spread the message by like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Drop a comment below to summon our next revelation. What mystery shall we unveil together? Thank you for watching.